Let's talk Arctic elephants. Wait. What? Okay, picture this. You're bundled up in 5 layers, trekking across the Arctic tundra. The wind's howling, your eyelashes are freezing, and suddenly, out of the blizzard appears an elephant. Yes, a real, gigantic, trunk-swinging elephant stomping through the snow like it owns the place. Sounds like a scene from a holiday fever dream, right? But here's the question. What if, somehow, elephants were dropped into the Arctic wilderness? Could they adapt? Would they thrive or just freeze their trunks off trying? I mean, we usually think of elephants basking in the savanna sun or wading through tropical rivers, not navigating glaciers and dodging polar bears. Let's break this wild idea down. Could their massive size help them conserve heat like a woolly mammoth? Would their floppy ears become a frosty liability? What happens when a creature built for dust and heat suddenly finds itself surrounded by snow and ice? As a wildlife biologist, I've spent years studying how animals evolve and adapt to their environments. And let me tell you, nature is full of surprises. So let's dive into this chilly thought experiment and see what it would really take for Earth's largest land mammal to survive in one of the planet's coldest corners. You ready for this frosty safari? Elephants and ice, yeah, that's a problem. Alright, let's get real for a second. As amazing as elephants are, they were absolutely not built for snowball fights or Arctic blizzards. These guys are tropical royalty. Their bodies are like living solar panels, soaking up the sun and staying cool with some of the most impressive built-in AC systems in the animal kingdom, those giant ears. Now, here's the deal with the ears. On the African savanna, those big flappy ears are lifesavers. Blood flows through them, heat escapes, and just like that, the elephant cools down. It's like having two personal fans on your head. But swap out the African sun for an Arctic chill, and suddenly, those same ears turn into giant frozen pancakes. In freezing temperatures, those big surfaces would bleed body heat faster than you can say frostbite. Imagine sticking your hand out the car window in Alaska. Now imagine your ears are the size of dinner plates and you can't pull them in. Not fun. And we haven't even gotten to their skin. Polar bears come with thick fur, dense undercoats, and layers of blubber that work like thermal armor. Elephants, nope. They've got thin skin with barely any hair, and they rely on staying cool, not warm. Drop one into a snowstorm, and you'd better have a fleece blanket the size of a football field ready. I mean, have you ever seen an elephant shiver? Me neither, and for good reason. They're designed to handle blazing sun, not howling winds and sub-zero nights. So here's the big question. If an elephant's body is basically the biological opposite of a polar bear's, could it even last a single Arctic winter? Spoiler alert, it's going to take a lot more than a woolly hat and hot cocoa. Elephants and ice, yeah, that's a problem. Alright, let's get real for a second. As amazing as elephants are, they were absolutely not built for snowball fights or Arctic blizzards. These guys are tropical royalty. Their bodies are like living solar panels, soaking up the sun and staying cool with some of the most impressive built-in AC systems in the animal kingdom, those giant ears. Now, here's the deal with the ears. On the African savanna, those big flappy ears are lifesavers. Blood flows through them, heat escapes, and just like that, the elephant cools down. It's like having two personal fans on your head. But swap out the African sun for an Arctic chill, and suddenly, those same ears turn into giant frozen pancakes. In freezing temperatures, those big surfaces would bleed body heat faster than you can say frostbite. Imagine sticking your hand out the car window in Alaska. Now imagine your ears are the size of dinner plates and you can't pull them in. Not fun. And we haven't even gotten to their skin. Polar bears come with thick fur, dense undercoats, and layers of blubber that work like thermal armor. Elephants, nope. They've got thin skin with barely any hair, and they rely on staying cool, not warm. Drop one into a snowstorm, and you'd better have a fleece blanket the size of a football field ready. I mean, have you ever seen an elephant shiver? Me neither, and for good reason. They're designed to handle blazing sun, not howling winds and sub-zero nights. So here's the big question. If an elephant's body is basically the biological opposite of a polar bear's, could it even last a single Arctic winter? Spoiler alert, it's going to take a lot more than a woolly hat and hot cocoa. The elephant effect. What happens when the wrong giant shows up? Alright, picture this. You're a tiny Arctic fox, trotting across the snow-covered tundra, sniffing the breeze for a snack. Life's tough up here, food is scarce, the cold never quits, and every critter has its role in this fragile frozen drama. Then suddenly, boom, the ground starts to shake. Something enormous is coming. It's not a snowstorm. It's not a polar bear. It's an elephant. Wait a minute. What is a 12,000-pound tropical herbivore doing stomping around the Arctic? It sounds like the start of a cartoon, but if elephants ever did show up in the far north, things could get messy real fast. See, the Arctic isn't built for giants like this. The tundra may look like a barren wasteland to us, but it's actually full of life, mosses, lichens, delicate shrubs, and animals that have adapted to survive with as little disturbance as possible. And then comes the elephant, casually trampling through the snow like it's strolling across the savanna. Every step it takes could crush decades-old plant growth that took forever to sprout in the short Arctic summers. Think of it like walking across Grandma's antique lace tablecloth in steel-toed boots. And what about the locals? Caribou, lemmings, Arctic hares, they've spent millennia mastering survival in this icy theater. Suddenly adding an elephant into the mix would be like tossing a sumo wrestler into a ballet recital. Everything gets thrown off balance. Food competition, disturbed habitats, and let's not forget the stress of having a walking bulldozer casually munching through what little greenery exists. And while elephants aren't predators, they don't exactly tiptoe through ecosystems. Their feeding habits in warmer climates shape entire landscapes, uprooting trees, clearing brush, and creating space for other species. But in the Arctic, that kind of landscaping could spell disaster. So here's a thought. What happens when you drop a massive, heat-loving, plant-eating powerhouse into one of Earth's most sensitive, coldest ecosystems? It's not just a mismatch, it's ecological chaos with the trunk and tusks. The Arctic already has a heavyweight champ, the polar bear, and it plays by Arctic rules. An elephant up there would be the ultimate bull in a very chilly china shop, fun to dream, tough to survive. So, let's take a step back and really think about it. Elephants in the Arctic? It sounds like the plot of a kid's animated movie or the weirdest wildlife crossover ever. Sure, the mental image of a snow-covered elephant building a trunk-shaped snowman is hilarious, but in the real world, not so much. Here's the deal. As magnificent and adaptable as elephants are, they're just not built for a deep freeze. Their massive ears, which are perfect for radiating heat in the African savanna, would actually become ice-cold liabilities in sub-zero temperatures. And let's not forget their diet. Elephants need hundreds of pounds of plants each day to stay full and energized. But try finding a leafy buffet under 6 feet of snow and ice. Even the most determined elephant would be hangry and hypothermic in no time. Think of it like trying to make a snowman in the middle of the desert. It's just not the right fit. Nature gave elephants the perfect tools for their environment, just like it did for polar bears in the Arctic. One thrives in heat, the other dominates the cold. Swapping their habitats would be like asking a penguin to climb trees or a kangaroo to swim across the Arctic Ocean. Still, there's something fun about stretching our imaginations. Could scientists one day create a cold-adapted elephant like a real-life woolly mammoth? Could we see giant herbivores return to the tundra as part of some future rewilding experiment? The possibilities make the science nerd in me geek out just a little. But for now, elephants belong where the sun is hot and the grass is green. The Arctic may be stunning, but it's no place for those gentle giants. So what do you think? Could elephants ever evolve to handle the ice and snow? Or is this just one of those wild what-if questions best left to cartoons and campfire stories? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this chilly thought experiment, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more wild animal deep dives. We've got plenty more wild ideas coming your way. Arctic babies, yeah, that's a whole new problem. Alright, let's talk baby elephants. Normally, in the warm savannas of Africa or the forests of Asia, elephant moms carry their babies for almost 2 years. Yup, 22 months of pregnancy. And when that calf finally arrives, it already weighs about 200 pounds. Imagine giving birth to a fridge. Now, imagine doing that in the middle of a blizzard. Here's the deal. In the tropics, the environment is relatively forgiving. Newborn elephants are greeted with warm sunshine, soft ground, and plenty of food for mom to recover and nurse her baby. But in the Arctic, that's a whole different story. No grass, no warmth, just ice, wind, and snow. Basically the worst baby shower setting ever. And elephants don't give birth in cozy dens like polar bears do. They give birth out in the open, surrounded by the herd. In freezing temperatures, that's a survival nightmare. Baby elephants have almost no fat, very little body hair, and zero built-in insulation. Within minutes, that little one could start losing body heat dangerously fast. It's like wrapping a newborn in a paper towel and setting it down on a snowbank. Plus, think about milk production. Elephant moms need to eat massive amounts of food to produce enough milk to feed their calves, and good luck finding a leafy salad bar in the Arctic. If mom can't eat, baby doesn't eat. And when you're growing up to be a 12,000-pound giant, skipping meals just isn't an option. From an ecological perspective, it's like trying to raise a cactus in a rainforest. The Arctic simply doesn't offer the resources, shelter, or warmth that elephants need to raise their young. Now, if you ask me as a wildlife biologist, could elephants ever adapt their reproductive habits for Arctic life? I'd say maybe in a million years with serious evolution and possibly some help from scientists. Woolly mammoths managed it, but they had thick coats, layers of fat, and even shorter tusks for digging through snow. Modern elephants just aren't equipped for this frosty family life. So if elephants did find themselves up north, their biggest challenge might not be the cold or the food. It could be raising the next generation in a place that wasn't meant for them in the first place. Now here's a question for you. If elephants could evolve to live in the cold, what do you think their babies would look like? Fuzzy, chubby, snow-loving baby elephants. Drop your wildest ideas in the comments. I'd love to see what you come up with. If you enjoyed this wild ride through nature's most extreme ideas, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another adventure. We've got plenty more jaw-dropping animal facts, survival stories, and what-if scenarios coming your way. And hey, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What do you think would happen if elephants really tried to survive in the Arctic? Could they tough it out, or would they be begging for a tropical vacation? Let's talk wildlife in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a like if it made you smile, learn something new, or just say whoa. Stay curious, stay wild, and I'll see you in the next one.